Hi, I'm Jeff Amsden. Welcome to my lifts video. Today I'm going to be teaching you some exciting lifts to add to your choreographic repertoire. Many of these lifts were taught to me not by male dancers, but by my female partners at the Joffrey Ballet Concert Group and Chamber Ballet USA. The girls were very specific with hand placement, how to really lift them and place them in just the right spot to make them look exactly beautiful. Now, one of the things I'm going to be covering today is hand placement and each person's responsibility while executing this lift, both the boy's responsibility and the girl's responsibility. Before attempting any of these lifts, it's very important that you're really warmed up so that there's not going to be any injuries. As an added precaution, I would always recommend to have at least one person spotting you, and if you have them, it's a great idea to put down gymnastics mat and perfect all these lifts on a mat just to be a little bit safer, and then once you have them, move them onto the regular dance floor. All right, now, one of the first rules I learned as a young dancer was to never drop the girl. Now, in order for that to be possible, it's important for the girl to really trust the guy. No matter what happens in the air, she can't abort the lift and relax or start to laugh. Because if she relaxes, she becomes very heavy and dead weight, and the boy cannot save the lift. There's nothing I can do if you relax. If you hold your composure and you trust me, in the middle of the air, I can make a few hand adjustments or I can move my legs in such a way to get a little more underneath you, and I can save the lift, or at the very least, I can bring you down in a very safe and composed manner so that you come gracefully down and no one's injured. The boy's not injured and the girl's not injured. Most of the injuries happen when somebody relaxes or they start laughing and you become dead weight and I have to drop you or catch you in a dead drop. Okay, so make sure you trust the boy and save it at all costs. I have an amazing partner. She's one of the best dancers in the country, and I'd like to introduce her at this time, Katie Spreadberry. Katie?
Hi, Jeff. Ladies, before beginning a lifting session for both you and your partner's safety, please remember to remove all your jewelry. So no rings, no earrings, no necklaces, or anything else that might get in the way of a lift. Also remember not to apply any hand lotion while doing a lifting session to avoid slippage when you're doing grips. Last thing, make sure that you're not wearing any acrylic nails. They might scratch you or fold back or scratch your partner in the worst case scenario.
Also, guys, if you tend to sweat a lot like I do, it's good to have a hand towel to make sure you dry your arms, both the guys and the girls, and make sure that there's no excess oils on your hands while you're lifting, because that can cause some problems. Now, I'm very excited to go live at Broadway Dance Center. Let's do our lifts. Here we go. All right, let's get started on our first lift. We call this the turning fan. The girl is going to lock her hands behind the guy's neck. She can either use this grip where she clasps her fingers together, or if she's not as strong, she can grab her wrists, and then what she wants to do, she actually has to support her own weight during this lift because there's very little lifting on the guy's part. She's going to press down using her back and her latissimus muscles, and she's going to support her weight, and she's going to arch back. So let's just see that. She's going to press down as much as she can. As I start to lift her, I'm going to spin, and she's going to take her head back. She's going to arch from the center of her back. She's going to open her legs to a slight second, and I'm going to take the heels of my hand, which are the strongest part of my hands, and I'm going to press out and try to push her away from my body as much as possible. In the middle of the lift, I'm going to bring her right leg into my hip. I'm going to turn her. She's going to stretch her feet to the floor. And at the very end, I'm going to bend my knees to lower her, not leaning forward by using my back, but I'm actually bend my knees to bring her feet closer to the floor. She's going to go through the tips of her toes and very gently caress the floor with her feet. She's going to turn out, and we're going to end in a contraction together. Okay, so let's start with her clasp. She's going to lock her hands behind me, and as she does, I'm going to start to spin. I'm going to bend my knees, turn, and contract. Now this is what we would consider an intermediate lift. It'd be something really great in a contemporary piece, maybe a balletic piece, or something that doesn't require a lot of strength. It's something a young male dancer could easily perform and perfect with a dancer. The next lift we're going to do is called the penché cartwheel. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is, so trust me on this one. The girl's going to step in front of me and she's going to take an arabesque penché. She's going to grab her ankle with both hands and hold on for dear life, and she's going to trust the boy. I'm going to place my arms through, and I'm going to have my forearms on her hip bones, and she's literally just going to roll her hip bones across my forearms as I pull my elbow into my stomach so that I'm not actually out here supporting her weight, but that my elbow is pressing against my abs, and I'm just going to take her from penché and stand her right side up 180, and she's going to still be holding onto her leg. It looks really cool. She's going to step in, grab, rotate, and right up. And one more time. And now I'm going to really do it fast. Nice. It looks a lot harder than it is, but it's really a cool one. Nice. The next lift we're going to do is called the assemblé to a split. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out how far the girl needs to be away from you to take 3 steps or 3 runs, and she's going to end in an assemblé right in front of me. Now, it's very important, like we were saying earlier, that she's got to time her momentum so that the assemblé is going up and that she doesn't have so much momentum that she's like a freight train going right by me and I'm not going to be able to stop her. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is just how much time out, how much energy, how many steps, how large of steps that she wants to take to end up in an assemblé right in front of me. So she's going to just do an assemblé, and I'm not even going to grab her. I'm just going to see where that assemblé lands on the floor in front of me. She's going to go and 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's perfect. So now the second step to this lift is I'm going to just grab her, first of all, just around the waist. And that's the second part. That's all we're going to do. She's going to do 3 runs, assemblé, and we're going to grab her off the ground right in front of me. So we're going to make eye contact, and on and. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, assemblé grab. Perfect. Now, second part of the lift is she's going to jump a little bit higher this time, which is the important part. She's got to get high enough so that instead of grabbing her here, what's going to happen is she's going to take her arms up into 5th. She's going to be in 5th on the assemblé. And then as soon as she feels my hands coming towards her, she's going to open here. And with all the momentum and all the strength that she has, all the might, she's going to push down under her armpits. I'm going to reach through. I'm actually going to catch her in the air here. And at this moment, her legs are going to open to a split. Now, we also call this the lip buster because, as we learned in rehearsal, if the girl leans forward and stretches towards her front hand, my hand is right there and her lip is going to go right into my fist. So what she wants to actually do is have a slight épaulement in her upper body so that her head is still stretched and her chin is still elongating, but that she's not coming forward towards my hand. So we're going to try it one more time. This time, Katie's going to jump a little bit higher, and instead of grabbing her here, I'm just going to take my arms through and hook her here, and her arms are going to be what supports her. If the girl relaxes her arms at all, her weight, she's just going to drop right through the middle of my hands, and you're not going to have a lift at all. So she has to really push down from her lats under her armpits. And they should be so strong that I could actually grab her here and push her and press her straight over my head. So, ready? And 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Did I hit the back of your head that time? Looked like I knocked your hairdo out a little bit. All right, the next one we're gonna do is really beautiful. It's called simply the embrace. And you're gonna actually start out hugging as if you were maybe slow dancing. And the beautiful part about the lift is that it comes as a complete surprise. So what the girl is actually doing is she's reaching through underneath, and she is very relaxed when she does this, but she's actually pulling down on the boy's shoulders and squeezing her body. And this is a hard one for the girl because she actually has to support her entire body weight on her own, okay? So then what happens is from here is I'm gonna open my arms to second position. As I do that, let me just pull out for a second. The girl is gonna take her right leg into a jeté across hip to hip. So my right hip to her right hip. And I'm actually, the beautiful part about this is I'm gonna do this turn, looking at the ceiling with my arms here. So what's beautiful is you could just, simply be dancing and then turn in the middle of it, and she goes into a jeté. She's gonna come down, step out of it, and go into another part of the dance. So the embrace. We come in, we're slow dancing, and turn and down. Now, we're gonna do it one more time. Katie's gonna try to pull a little bit more so that she gets up a little bit higher on my body, on my hip. And she's gonna actually, when she does this, she's gonna try to reach her leg and actually lift her leg so that it's sitting on the top of my hip bone as opposed down here. If I have her leg up here, it creates actually like there's almost like a shelf for her leg to rest against. Whereas when she's way down here, she's just gonna slide down. So she has to lift up a little bit more and place her thigh across the top of my hip bone and press her leg into my hip bone and actually use her leg to help lift her up a little bit off the ground, okay? Sorry, girls, this is a tough one for you. You're doing all the work. Ready? And one. Perfect. Beautiful. The next lift we're gonna do is called the cartwheel fan tinsika. You could do it with a guy or you could do it with the girls. I'm gonna reach my left arm to her and she's gonna hand me her left arm. She's gonna come in and she's gonna place her torso flat against my torso. Before she does that, I'm gonna reach down with my forearm. I'm gonna be just above her hip bone. And I'm gonna pull this elbow into the side of my body. So the elbow into the side of the body actually is supporting the weight. I'm not out here trying to balance the weight. If you do that, it's gonna be very cumbersome and it's gonna be difficult. If I just stand up tall and hold this here, her hips are gonna rotate across my forearm without any difficulty at all. So I'm gonna try it once, and come in, and down, and come in, and down. The next lift we're gonna do is called the shoulder sit to penché. This is another one that's really beautiful, it's very exciting, and it looks a lot more complicated than it really is. The girl has to just trust the boy with all of her instincts. Now I'm gonna go to my knee, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out, I'm gonna do this standing, but I'm just gonna demonstrate. She's gonna do a plie and three. I'm gonna sit her up onto my shoulder. I'm gonna move my shoulder underneath her buttocks. And then once she's there, I'm gonna reach through her legs, I'm gonna grab here. The girl's gonna reach across the boy and she's gonna use the front of my chest, she's gonna lower the side of her body only. She's not gonna go across her back or across the side of her body is gonna be like a board straight across the top of my shoulders. And once again, she's going to lay across this part of my shoulder and not on my neck. Although from the front, it looks like she's actually laying on my neck. She's gonna lay across here. Once she's across my shoulders flat as a board, I'm gonna still be holding on to her left leg. She's gonna open up her right leg into a split, and I'm gonna slightly turn and lower her down into a 6 o'clock penché. And she's just going to be able to step in any direction out of that and be able to go on to another section of the piece in choreography. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the shoulder sit. Now, I'm going to grab her around the waist. And one of the things that a boy always wants to think about whenever a girl's doing a simple lift, such as a shoulder sit, is that when she does the plie, the boy also wants to plie at the same time. All right, so timing is very, very important. So as she does her plie, I'm going to plie. I'm going to use the strength of my legs and the burst out of my plie to help guide the weight onto my shoulder. And another thing I want to do is I want to try to think of my shoulder as if it were a hand, and I want to place my shoulder right underneath her hips. Because if you think about it, if I'm just going to literally use my arms to bring her up to my shoulder, it's a lot of lifting, it's a lot of weight. So I'm going to plie, use her momentum, and I'm just going to dip my shoulder by bending my knees, place my shoulder right underneath her hips, so it's a lot less work for the guy. So on the count of 3, she's going to plie. I'm going to set her up on my shoulder on 4, using my legs and my arms at the same time. So we have, I'm going to say and we're going to go 1, 2, plie 3 of 4. Ready, and 1, 2. Beautiful. She's going to start reaching across. Nice, and from there, the girl can go into another move, into her solo, into another lift, or perhaps the boy's solo. All right, now let's do that one more time. That was beautiful. Let's try it again. Ready? And 1, 2. Excellent. Hi, the next lift we're going to do is a very exciting lift. It's called the helicopter to the angel. Okay, there's a couple things I want to talk about. The first thing is the hand placement for the guy. It's very important to have my right hand on her left hip bone. Her right leg is going to go to second position. And as I place my hand underneath her leg, I want to make sure that I'm not lifting underneath her kneecap, because you could possibly cause some injury here. But right in the middle of her thigh is the safest place to be lifting. Let me just show you, first of all, what's going to happen in the air. Once I press her into the air, her right leg's going to go to 90 degrees. Now, this is really, really hard for a girl that's especially flexible like Katie, because as I push up, just relax for a second. As I press up, if she lets her leg go, all I'm essentially doing is stretching her leg, and I have nothing to press against. So it's very important that as her leg is in 90 degrees, that she actually has to lock that leg there and essentially push down a little bit against my hand as I'm lifting, so I have some resistance and I can actually press against her. So it's very important that the girl does that, or else I don't lift, I just stretch her. This is a lift that is very important, that in the air, the girl has to support and keep her posture and her composure at all time. Because in the air, as she fouettes to arabesque, when I catch her, if she relaxes at all, the momentum of her coming down and the relaxation will pull her forward and also pull me forward. It'll pull my back out, and that's the only place where there's any sort of potential to have an accident of any kind. Once she hits the second position, in the air, I'm just going to demonstrate this on my knees, is I'm going to take her leg over my head in second position. I'm actually throwing her. I'm going to catch her underneath with this hand here and this hand around her waist. And I'm actually going to take her and lift her into my body at that point. And this is where I said she can't relax her back. She has to keep her upper back pressed against her arabesque. Now, the timing, we're gonna shoot for the count of 4. So what I mean by that is Katie's gonna start here. And where the girl wants to think of placing her left foot is, if I'm in a second position, she wants to think of placing her left foot either right in front of my right foot or just a little bit to the inside. One of the common mistakes in this lift is when the girl goes in for the preparation, just be me for a second, is what happens most of the time is the girl has so much momentum going this way is they actually go past the guy. So what you want to think about when you're coming into the guy is actually stopping your momentum so that you're actually going straight up into the air for the lift and you're not running past the guy. So when you're first practicing, we're going to say, okay, we're going to go up on the count of 4. So she's going to step with her left foot, 1, 2, 3, and on the count of 4, I'm going to try to hit that count and be at the height of the lift. So what I'm actually doing is I'm not so much lifting her, is what I want to do is I want to take her momentum and guide her momentum over my head. Because if my timing's off, then I am actually lifting and I'm having to use all of my muscles to lift, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to bend my knees and guide that momentum straight into the air over my head. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to try to get our hand placement correct and lift her one time straight up to make sure that her leg's not going up in second. And then once you feel like that's secure, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try the fouette. So right now we're just going to come in and we're going to go 1, 2, plie on 3, and up on 4. Now, one thing that's very important when you're working with a partner is you want to make eye contact with her before you go. And I want to acknowledge her that she sees me and I see her. If there's any sort of disconnect there, I'm not going to know exactly where she is and I'm not going to be able to guide that momentum. So I'm going to look at her, I'm going to make eye contact, and I'm going to say and then she knows I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and go up on 4, okay? So I'm going to make eye contact with her and I'm going to say and 1, 2, straight up. Beautiful, beautiful. Now we're going to do it one more time because that was actually really good. I'm going to take her up and at the height I'm going to throw her, I'm going to fouette, I'm going to catch under her thigh, around her waist, and it's very important for the guy. The further away that weight is from me, the more I'm going to have to use my back. As soon as I grab her, I'm going to pull that weight into my body, support her weight on my body, and then I'm going to use my legs to create the angel part of the lift, not my arms, okay? So this is where the real deal happens, all right? Ready? The next lift we're going to do is the helicopter to assemblée. It's the exact same preparation as the helicopter that we did before to angel. The only thing different is as the girl comes in, I'm going to throw her. Again, I'm going to show you from here. I'm going to take her here, and as I throw her, she's going to squeeze her inner thighs as hard as she can. She's going to spot up and over my head, and I'm going to catch her around her thighs, and then I'm going to arch her back in a reverse angel in 5th position. Now, when you really, really have a lot of room and you've really, really perfected this, you can actually go up to 2.5 revolutions in the air, which is really amazing. Today, we're going to do one beautiful, clean one for you, and we're going to finish with a nice pose, all right? So again, we're going to make eye contact, and on the count of 4, I'm going to go for the revolution over my head. And here we go. And. The next lift we're going to do is the angel lift. It's made famous in the movie Dirty Dancing, where Patrick Swayze lifts her in the middle of the lake and flies her up. It's a great place to actually practice lifts because if you fall, you're in the water. Now, it's very important that the guy places his hands, the heels of his hands, right on the front of her hip bones. If I get too much on her waist, which sometimes happens, she's not going to be able to arch back. If I place my hands right on the front of her hips, right here with the heels of my hand, and guide her weight straight up, I'm going to be able to get her up there, all right? Now, Katie's going to lay on the floor. one of the most important parts and the hardest parts for the girl is she wants to figure out exactly, she has to raise her back legs and her upper body, and they have to be exactly the same to create a center point, which is going to be the heels of my hands on her hip bones. If her upper body goes up too much and her legs drop, she's going to fall off my hands. The same is true if she looks down at the floor and raises her legs, she's going to come towards me and it's going to be a lot harder. So go ahead and stand up for a second. Let me help you out. Once again, I want to make eye contact with my partner and want to figure out a count that we're going to try to hit the height of the lift on. So we're going to say 4, so she's going to come in with 3 steps. She's actually going to place her hands just for a second on my shoulders, just to center herself, and then she's going to let go. And she's actually going to focus off into the distance and have a slight arch, and she's going to raise her chin up here. If she takes her head forward, that just slight amount with the head is heavy, it's going to pull her forward. So you actually have to trust the guy and release her chin a little bit up into an angle, okay? So again, I'm going to be reaching to her hips, the front of her hips, and what I want to do again is to guide her momentum into the air. Again, the girl, hold your position, because if it doesn't work, I can make slight adjustments and sometimes I can fix it. If you collapse or if you relax at all, there's no way I can fix it. Once I get the angel up, I'm going to lower her down onto my chest, and she's going to bring her right leg through. I'm just going to turn her in a split position, maybe just one time, and let her down, and you can go on to some other choreography in the lift. So we're going to shoot for the count of 4. I'm going to look for her hips. What I want to do is I want to spot with my eyes. Once I give her the and, I want to take my focus immediately to her hips. Now the hard part, I remember when I was in a ballet company trying to do this lift, because they would have these tutus with all of this tulle, and you'd have to use like a radar vision to try to imagine where their hips were under all of that costume. But fortunately today, she's wearing nice tight clothes. I can spot her hips and guide those hips right over my head in the palms of my hand. So we're gonna go for the count of 4. And we go, and 1. So that time my hand slipped a little bit and actually went up to her waist, and she wasn't able to arch back. Ready? And. That was good. The next lift we're going to do is a very exciting one. It's called Around the World. The girl's going to sit on the floor at an angle to the boy. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab her wrist, not her hand. So you don't want to be like this, because you actually want to grab. It's very important that the girl holds on as tight to me as I am to her. I'm going to reach across the other hand this way. So this hand is facing up, this hand is rotating and grabbing here. And again, she's grabbing on as hard to me as I am to her. She's actually gonna lean back and pull against me, and she's gonna coil her legs in, and the tighter that she can bring her legs into her thighs, the more power that she's actually gonna have to jump and spring. I'm gonna just talk through this for a second. She's gonna lean back and pull against me. If she relaxes, relax your lower body, and when I go to pull her, all I'm gonna really be doing is stretching out her back muscles, and I have nothing to pull against, and she's gonna go nowhere. But she's gonna do the opposite. She's gonna pull against me. She's gonna spring into a second position. Now this is the only part of the lift where it can get complicated, okay? As a guy, what I wanna do is I wanna throw from my back my arms in front of me. What can happen a lot of time is if the momentum gets going and you relax your shoulders or you relax your arms even a little bit, you're gonna get behind your center here, your shoulder, and you can dislocate your shoulder. So it's very important in one count to bring my back forward and to lock out my back, so I'm actually pushing her weight in front of my shoulders, and not behind my shoulders. Now I'm gonna just go to my knees for a second. And what Katie's gonna be doing at the height when she's in second, is she's gonna actually be pushing down as much as she can with her hands, and she's supporting her own body by pressing down onto my wrist. And she's gonna raise her legs into second by pressing down onto my hands. From here, let's go back to here. So she's gonna come around, and then I'm gonna bring her all the way to the front, and when she spots me, she's gonna wrap her legs around my waist. And by her wrapping around my waist, that's gonna be what actually stops the lift. So the girl has to really reach out and grab and pull the guy into her by using her legs. Her arms are now gonna be a little bit crossed, and what I'm gonna do to get out of this is I'm gonna bring her up, and I'm gonna loop her arms over my shoulders. I'm gonna grab down, I'm gonna grab her waist. She's gonna go into a double attitude. I'm just gonna turn her one time and let her out, okay? So we're gonna try it. Now remember, the girl has to really pull her legs in as tight as she can to her thighs. She's gonna lean back, and on the count of 4, we're gonna go for a count. I'm gonna hit her. So pull away, ready? And 1, 2. Beautiful. Excellent. Ready? And 1, 2. And we're gonna try it one more time. So the more she leans away, the more pull and the resistance I have. Ready? And 1, 2. It's a very exciting lift to add to your choreography. We're gonna do now halfway around the world. Why is it called halfway around the world? Because just like around the world, you're gonna start with the same prep. Although halfway, you're gonna stop, and the girl's actually gonna end in second position on the guy's shoulders. Now, when I say shoulders, it's very important that you're not gonna try to take her weight on your neck, but she's actually gonna have her legs in second position across the top of your shoulders here. You're gonna have your head go slightly forward so she can land there, but you certainly don't want her to land on your neck. Now, exactly like around the world, she's gonna start on the floor, the same hand position, but when you get to the halfway point, I'm gonna go to my knees so you can demonstrate this. She's gonna open her legs to second position, and it's not a second position that you would do on the floor in the split, but it's more a second position that you might hit in a second jump. It's more of a V. And that's what's gonna stop her from sliding down. If she was to hit a second, she would probably just slide down the back of my body. So, in the middle of it, she's gonna hit a second position. She's gonna be across the top of my shoulders. I'm gonna turn her one time as she's pressing down on my hands, exactly like in Around the World. She's gonna support her own weight. I'm gonna turn her, and then I'm gonna pop her up over my head while she's pressing down onto the front of my body, where my hands will now be in front of her thighs. I'm gonna take my body to the side, and I'm gonna grab her around the waist, and she's gonna cartwheel out of the lift, halfway around the world. So I'm gonna give her, again, my right hand. We're gonna be wrist to wrist. I'm gonna cross here, and we're gonna try to shoot for the count of 4 to be in the second position across the top of my shoulders. Once again, the girl is pulling away from the guy so that I have some resistance to pull again. She's not gonna relax her body and come towards me, or it's disaster. Ready? And 1, 2. Good. And slow. Come forward. Beautiful. And 1, 2. I know a lot of you studio owners, maybe you don't have boys at your studio, so we've got some lifts here that girls can do with girls. And to help us show that here today, Brittany Kern. And once again, Katie Spreadberry. I'm going to start out with Brittany supporting her, and she's going to do it really slow to show the mechanics of the flare into the fish flop at the end. So she's going to start on her stomach. She's going to rond de jambe her legs, and what she wants to do is she wants to press her legs straight up so that her toes are right above her nose. So she doesn't want to kick her legs back over her head, but actually wants to use her abdominals to pull straight up. Her arms go straight out to the side, and she presses her right shoulder into the floor as if it's a hand. She lets her arms roll forward. She goes onto her stomach. She keeps her legs together with her feet pointed, and this is very important at the end, is that she keeps her feet pointed. I find that if your toes are flexed at the end, you can sprain your toes a little bit here. So it's a little bit better to keep this arch and arc in the legs so that the final moment, your tops of your ankles just sort of gently kiss the floor, but you're not slamming down on your toes. So now, what's really cool is they're gonna lock hands, and they're gonna do that at the same time, and they're gonna support one another, and hopefully come up, create a center point, and then roll down from that center point. And we're gonna do it on 3, we're gonna go on 4. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, go up. Excellent, ladies. Wonderful. You wanna try it one more time? Not really, but you will because you love me. Ready? That was really beautiful. So both of them are casting their legs straight up. You're gonna actually spot your feet in the air above your nose, and you're gonna roll and arch down, remembering to point your feet. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Up and arch and beautiful. Wonderful. Thanks, girls. Oh, you rolled and you got up exactly the same. That was so fantastic. I love it. All right, the next lift we're gonna do, we call the calf stand. And Brittany's gonna show the starting position. And she's gonna lunge down, and her back leg is parallel to the floor. And what Katie's gonna do is she's gonna come in and she's gonna step right on her calf muscle. And Brittany's bracing herself with her right hand. Her back is flat, her abdominals are in. Katie's gonna step, and she's gonna take her right leg up to attitude, and then she's gonna reach across, keeping her chest up, a little bit of an arch, reaching down Brittany's arm for support, and she's gonna cartwheel out of it at the end. Now, it's very important that the person that's doing the stepping doesn't step on with so much force that they force the person's knee to the floor. And they also want to step turned out and really pull and support their center so that they're not hanging on the person, but they're actually holding their own weight in and of itself. So go ahead and step up. Excellent. And now she's going to reach across and fan. And beautiful, and try it one more time. Now Brittany's gonna turn, and she's gonna face the opposite direction. Give her a little second to stretch out her legs. She's awesome, doing a beautiful job. And Brittany's totally solid. I mean, she's like a rock. And Katie's gonna show you just a little bit of different angle. Take her leg up and across, and fan across. That was the best one. That was beautiful, excellent. Thank you, good job, girls. All right, the next one we're gonna do is the handstand on the knees. I'm gonna demonstrate Brittany's part, or the base person. I'm gonna start flat on my back, and what I wanna think about before I do this is as she comes in, we were talking about this earlier, she's gonna place her shoulders into my hands, but once again, I wanna make sure that I don't put my thumbs here or try to use my thumbs in any way. It's best to tuck your thumbs in and to support the person's weight with the heels of your hand. Now, the other thing is that I want to let her come to me. I don't want to try to sit up and go to her, But she's gonna come in and she's gonna put her hands firmly on my knees, and she's just gonna trust that her shoulders are gonna come up to my hands. She's gonna go into a split, and she's gonna open to double attitude and come back down. So you're gonna go back up one more time, go to a handstand, to a split, into second, into double attitude. So it basically just ronde-jambs around. And come up, and into a split, and second, and double attitude, and back down. And then she pulls me up off the ground. Now Brittany's gonna come in, and she's gonna show how it's done with two girls. And handstand, and split, and second, and beautiful double attitude, and stretch your leg all the way down. And handstand, and split, and second, and beautiful double attitude, and stretch your leg all the way down. Support the base person, and up. And right there, ladies and gentlemen, the beginning of your own circus act. All right, now we're gonna do the classic standing fan out of the back. Brittany's gonna take a lunge in second position. She's gonna flatten out her back. Katie's gonna come in, and she's gonna hook this right arm over her shoulder. Again, she's gonna lay her head across here and support her neck on her neck. And she's gonna reach across and not hook her left arm, but drape her left arm across here for support. And she's gonna fan out, remembering to keep her left leg reaching and stretching as she fans this leg to the floor, always stretching and lengthening. And so she's gonna come in and hook it and up and over. And try it one more time. And this time, as you hook it, go ahead and take the lunge. Try taking your arm over instead of under. Just for me, try reaching over with your right arm. Now let's do the same thing. You're gonna fan, you're gonna hit it, you're gonna do your double attitude, you're gonna open it, and then you're gonna go back out. So you're gonna have a little bit of suspension. Now it's very important that this person keeps this plie to support, and their abdominals nice and tight, and they're stretching their spine, supporting it from the abdominal muscles. And come in. And there you go. Beautiful. And attitude, and open, and stretch, and come in, and there you go. Beautiful. And attitude, and open, and stretch. All right, ladies, well done. You deserve a hug. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Katie. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to study this DVD. I want to thank Broadway Dance Center for the opportunity to put some of these lifts on DVD so that when I'm 65, I can look back and remember that I could actually lift back in the day. Remember that safety is the most important issue, so always make sure that you're warmed up and you're ready to go. Have a spotter, get those gymnastics mats out to make sure that you're completely safe if something does go wrong. Ladies, always remember to hold your posture in the air no matter what happens, even if you think it's going to be a complete disaster. You can save it even with a girl lifting you if you hold your posture and your composure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I hope that some of these lifts will inspire you to be even more creative than myself and create a lift that maybe I had not even thought about. If you do, email me or come see me here at Broadway Dance Center in New York. Thank you very much.